evening, everyone, and welcome into this latest edition of Sports Hour live at Hendricks Hall. I'm your host, Trevor Hauer, and with me is apparently Josh Allen, the quarterback that beat the Kansas City. Oh, no, it's actually Sarah. It's actually Sarah.
It's me.
But I got excited there for a second. I thought it was Josh Allen for a minute.
Sorry to burst your bubble.
Who could have been fooled by that? Who could have been fooled by that?
I don't know. I should have let it go a little bit
longer. He's the quarterback that destroyed the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead Stadium. I thought it couldn't be done, honestly. But, I mean, there's a lot of factors that went into that game. And from offense to the Kansas City Chiefs' terrible defense and special teams, the Bills completely dominated. And that was a birthday gift for Sarah.
It was.
Even though it looks way too realistic. But, whatever.
Unfortunately, it's just me.
Maybe he's the MVP this year. Who knows? But 38-20 was the final score in Arrowhead Stadium. What a crazy game.
Yes, it was. It was an insane game. First of all, we just look at the logistics of it. There is an hour-long lightning
storm.
Lightning delay. It was insane. Thankfully they got to the end of the half and they had the Chiefs had the ball at the end of the half. They went through and I can't remember. Did they scored there? Maybe, or no, they didn't score there. And then they went to the halftime and it started lightning, so they had to move all the fans out and then
mini flood in the stands.
Yeah, exactly.
Saw that.
Yeah, that was pretty nuts. So then they kept going and they were like, okay, we'll be back in 10 minutes. And then lightning kept coming, and they were like, oh, we'll be back in the next 10 minutes. But it just kept going on for an hour.
I was so happy it wasn't delayed. I would have been so mad if it was pushed, like the other half was pushed on Monday night.
Yeah,
I would have been so mad.
It would have been typical Bills luck if we were actually in the lead at halftime, beating the Chiefs, and it would have been typical Bills luck. So thankfully that didn't happen.
But the Bills had some key plays in that first half before the lightning delay. I mean, Josh Allen going deep with Stephon Diggs multiple times, finding Dawson Knox wide open. Tyrann Mathieu, the defensive back for the Chiefs, having his hands on top of his head like, what is my defense doing?
Yeah.
And I saw a picture, it was really funny. It was like how it started. It showed Stephon Diggs watching the Chiefs celebrate in the AFC Championship game, and then how it's going, and it just shows Tyrann Mathieu doing this.
Yep. Yeah,
so that was really, really funny. They got their revenge. I knew that Diggs definitely took that loss against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game personally, kind of like Michael Jordan would. But, this is just a dominant win. Almost dropped a 40-point game on the Kansas City Chiefs. That would have been insane.
That would have been insane. I was so close to my 41-point prediction for the Bills last week that I said a field goal away. But I'll take this win. It was amazing. Got some birthday magic in there for that, which I was happy about. Their defense is looking so good right now. They really are.
They got a pick six. Who was it? Was it Micah Hyde?
Micah Hyde, yeah. And
Tyreek Hill has an uncharacteristic drop. It goes right through his hands. He tips it up in the air. Micah Hyde's right there and houses it. Pretty much put the game away right there. But just total domination. I think the Bills are the team to beat in the AFC, other than maybe the Baltimore Ravens. They're both 4-1, but I think the Bills are the team that other teams in the AFC are trying to take down right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I really fully believe that this could be the Bills' year. They're looking good both offensively and defensively right now. I mean, we see here, we put the highlights. They're just
second and goal. He fakes the handoff. There's no stopping him right there. QB sneak into the end zone, too easy. Doesn't even go down. Touchdown. Josh Allen just doing Josh Allen things right there.
The MVP right now, really. He definitely needs to be in the running for MVP.
In Kansas City, 31st ranked rushing defense, we saw that, and 30th ranked pass defense. Obviously, we saw that in the first and second half. The Bills did everything they could and exploited them because the Chiefs have a really good offense. They have a great quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. But when you have a defense like that, you hear it all the time. Ray Lewis used to say it best, when defense wins championships. You can have the best offense of all time, but if your defense is not that good, you're not going to win the Super Bowl ever.
Yeah, never. You can't be solely dependent on just the offense. You have to have the defense in there. And here's the pick six we were talking about earlier.
Tyreek Hill does not drop that. He catches that 99 times out of 100 right there. But I mean, Hyde was at the right place at the right time. He took care of business. Obviously made it a 31-13 game, and at that point, it was over. Because I don't think, Kansas City scored one more touchdown in the rest of the half. So the game was over then and there. Josh Allen having all day to throw. That is a nightmare right there for the Chiefs.
Sanders was on fire this game, too.
Just running streak routes the whole day. He was just running straight ahead. He was not doing any curl routes or any out routes at the sideline. How do you not know as a defensive coordinator that he's just running straight the whole time?
I know. You would think you'd be able to adjust that as the game goes along, but they just didn't have the answer for the Bills this time.
And that pops the question, are the Kansas City Chiefs done? I see this on ESPN all the time. And, of course, everyone's going to speculate. But with that defense, I wouldn't be surprised. But there's that guy who's throwing the ball over there named Patrick Mahomes. I don't think the Chiefs are done, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I would agree with you. You can't count them out. They're 2-3 right now, which is uncharacteristic for the Chiefs, as we've come to know them the last couple of years under Patrick Mahomes and everyone else that they got weapon-wise. But I really don't think that you can count them out. They're still in there. I don't know. They're just kind of stuck in a rut right now for some reason. This is something we haven't seen for the Chiefs in a while. So you definitely can't count them out. They're definitely going to take this and realize, okay, something has gone wrong here because we were in the Super Bowl last year. Something's going on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. At the deadline, they need to make moves at defensive back because all around defense, the linebackers are bad. The defensive linemen are terrible. They couldn't get any pressure on Josh Allen whatsoever. And the defensive backs, like the corners and the safeties, what were they doing? They weren't covering anybody.
No idea.
But you know what? In typical Bills fashion, as we've seen from this year and last year and maybe the year before that, they don't feel bad for other teams. They see that your defense is horrendous, and they don't feel bad for you. They're going to drop 40 points on you. That's exactly what they did.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And they keep it up. They're really going to. I think, looking at their schedule, the Bills could probably have the Pittsburgh Steelers. They potentially could have the Steelers be their only loss this season.
Yeah, for sure, because they played the Patriots twice, they played the Dolphins one more time, and the Jets twice. Those should all be wins for the Bills, I think. And then they're playing the AFC South, so they got the Titans coming up this weekend. That will be a good game for sure. Mm-hmm. Who do you think wins the Bills versus Tennessee? Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry versus Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs? Who wins?
I mean, I'm still going to go with Josh and Stephon, but I just think, Henry is definitely their number one weapon. It's going to be a dangerous one to have to watch out for. So, but I'm still going to take the Bills, go with my team, and let's see, give a score. How about keep up with let's go. I'll say 41 again, maybe 41 to 31.
I'll go Bills by 7. I'll say 31-24. That's what I'll say. I think Derrick Henry gets a couple touchdowns just because he's the best running back in the league. Best defenses have a hard time stopping them. So, yeah, I'll go with 31-24. But the Bills are looking good right now, just putting that out there. A game in London. Yep, Josh Allen right there. The game across the pond. The Jets versus the Falcons, and Atlanta took this one 27-20. A pretty weird kind of game. I mean, they chose the London game to be between two teams that are struggling right now.
Yeah.
But 27-20, what'd you think about Matt Ryan's performance? I thought he looked great with Kyle Pitts, the rookie.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I mean, Matt Ryan had 342 yards and 2 touchdowns for the game, and then Pitts had 119 yards receiving and 1 touchdown. So I think they played well off each other this game for sure. But like you said, there's still two teams that are struggling. So maybe we'll see that their little duo will work for the Falcons. But yeah, I think I think the two of them worked well this game.
Yeah, and if you're the Jets, I would get Zach Wilson weapons right now. Get him an offensive line that can protect him. Give him some wide receivers that have a big staple name. Go for them in the draft. Go for them in the trade deadline. Because Zach Wilson, he's not going to do it all himself. He's not. I mean, he's just one player out of the 53 man on the roster. So.
And we know he can play.
Yeah.
Based on, obviously, his college performance, but you can't have it down to just him to be the sole contributor to everything. So you gotta back him up with all the people.
Right, and I think this was a game that Atlanta should have won, and they did. And I think excuse me. I think the London fans were loving it in that game, but because they were all just decked out in their NFL jerseys. Like,
Yeah.
I saw a bunch of like Raiders, Packers, Jaguars jerseys, Patriots jerseys. They just want to see some football there. So I don't think they know.
The status of the teams, I guess.
I don't think they pay attention to the standings that much, but yeah, great game for the Falcons. I think a staple win for them to keep their season alive for sure. Let's go to this next game. Let's just say this. Colts, you're lucky the Astros won tonight and going to the ALCS, or I would have just totally ripped you on the show right now. But, man, 25-9 with 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, right? The Colts have it. They have this game in the bag. 16 points. Oh, if you don't score on this drive, Lamar's got to go get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. If you don't score on that drive, then he's got to do the same thing again. There's no way he forces overtime. Are you kidding? 25-9, they tie the game, and they win 31-25 in overtime. Colts are 1-4. Baltimore is 4-1. I don't know why I watch them anymore, honestly. It's just a total pain.
Yeah.
But Carson Wentz looked good. I mean, throwing for 400 yards, he looked great. Michael Pittman with a Randy Moss touchdown, that was pretty cool too. But the defense, like, what in the world was that in the fourth quarter? We're playing a prevent defense, down by 8 with 3 minutes to go? That's stupid. An injured kicker, they're throwing him out there, who can't hit a 45-yard field goal.
Yeah. They were very questionable, especially in that quarter. And they played, like, they were fine, obviously holding their own the rest of the game. And then the fourth quarter was just like, what happened?
You can make the argument that the Colts kicker, like, he has a cool personality. He wears the goggles. His last name is Blankenship, but he's not a reliable kicker. Like, even when he was healthy, he had a tough time hitting 45-yard field goals. And then on the other side, you have Chase McLaughlin, who the Colts evaluated a couple years ago up against him in training camp. And he is perfect at 50 and beyond this year with Cleveland. And he only missed one from 42 to 47, that range. How did Rodrigo Blankenship beat out Chase McLaughlin? And the game wasn't on him. The defense was horrendous, making Lamar Jackson look like 2007 Tom Brady out there, throwing for like 435 yards, and 130 of those went to Mark Andrews, the tight end. And the Colts couldn't seem to find the 6'8" tight end in the middle of the field, which is concerning. But yeah, I'm not surprised because I was watching this game with my housemates, and I told them when Marquise Brown caught that touchdown in the third quarter to make it 25-9, I told them this game's over. The Colts are going to blow this. They're going to blow this, and they did. So, am I surprised? No, I'm not.
Upset?
So,
yes.
You got to give it to Lamar Jackson. He's a beast. Mark Andrews is a beast. The Ravens are one of the most tough teams, like tough strength-wise, in the AFC this year. So they're a fun team to watch, but I mean, that was a game the Colts needed to win because they really haven't beaten a good team since maybe they beat two good teams since Luck retired. They beat the Chiefs in 19 and they beat the Packers in 2020. So that was a game they needed to win, and they just couldn't get it done. My reaction to the missed field goal to force overtime was hilarious. Probably can't say some of those words on the air, but you know, it happens. It happens.
It happens in football. We're crazy, apparently.
Overtime, the Colts they don't get a point because this isn't hockey, so they just lose. This was a way better game to watch in my opinion. The Chargers and the Browns. If you bet the over on this game, congratulations, you are a winner. 47-42 in SoFi Stadium, the Chargers defeat the Browns. Justin Herbert, we talk about him on the show all the time. He's a legend. Dude is a beast. Same with Baker Mayfield, who we didn't know even was going to play with the partially torn labrum in his non-throwing shoulder. But 47-42, this Chargers offense is insane.
It really, really is. And you just see Austin Eckler just continually going off every week, and obviously with Herbert in the captain quarterback position, like leading them, you use all these weapons like Eckler and then Williams, 165 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. The Chargers have got it going right now.
Yeah, for sure.
They really have got it going, and they're going to be one to watch the rest of the season. I'm sure they're going to keep plowing ahead and just defying the odds and going for it.
And the next game on our list, this is also kind of a weird game because it was 24-17 after the end of the third quarter. The Bucks defeat the Dolphins 45-17. Tom Brady continually beating up on the AFC East teams. Jacoby Brissett looked kind of clueless, and in typical Bucks fashion, they pounded the other team in the ground.
Yeah, and what are you gonna do? It's like a newer quarterback. You're going up against Tom Brady. How do you really handle that? And the defense obviously let him have 411 yards and 5 touchdowns. Typical Tom Brady things, unfortunately.
Keep on padding those stats, Tom. I mean, nobody's going to pass you in the next 25, 30 years. So, yeah, just keep padding those stats, man. That's all I got to say. But Bucks, of course,
still
beating up on the Dolphins. I mean, I expected this, but 24-17 at the end of the third quarter, then the game ends 45-17. That's a little outrageous.
It is.
Don't you think?
At that rate, it's like, maybe give them a little break. I don't know. Not really, but the Bucks just do what they do, and they're clearly most likely going to be Super Bowl bound once again.
Right, they show no mercy ever.
Yes.
This next game, the Steelers beating the Broncos in a surprisingly close game, 27-19. I honestly think both teams are struggling, but the Steelers edged them out and beat them by 8.
Yes. Yeah, both teams are definitely struggling. Like Pittsburgh, they seemed like okay when they beat up on the Bills at the very first game, but then now going forward, they're just, I don't know, Big Ben's not putting up the big numbers anymore, so they're just struggling. And then Bridgewater doing, mediocre things, but on either side, and they just don't have, I guess, this full structure that we were expecting possibly. So they're both struggling.
And it's good for Steelers fans to get back in the win column, too.
Yeah, that's true.
Except for Broncos fans who started off 3-0. Now they're 3-2. They might be a little bit scared now. Yeah. Titans and the Jaguars expected 37-19 win over the Jaguars. They're continuing to struggle. Urban Meyer can't seem to find his way with Trevor Lawrence. What can you really say about this game? I expected this. I think you guys all at home watching this expected that too. 37-19 was the final score. Patriots coming back to defeat the Texans 25-22. Davis Mills almost got his first career win as a starter.
I know, that was exciting for him, but unfortunately they couldn't stick it out. Somehow Jones was able to lead them back to victory for the Patriots. So they moved to 2-3, and then Houston's unfortunately 1-4. So things aren't looking too good for them, and it really unfortunate for Mills that he couldn't. So he was so close. So close. Couldn't pull out that one.
Houston's traveling to Indianapolis next weekend, so Carson Wentz should throw for 600 yards and 6 touchdowns, you'd think, but I don't know. They're Houston's Davis Mills. What can you really say about them?
Yeah.
And then lastly, the Bears over the Raiders, who are, by the way, without their head coach, John Gruden now, as he resigned last night due to some controversial emails that were sent from 2011 up to 2018. But the Bears, surprising win over the Raiders, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Like the Bears are the Bears. They haven't been. They're kind of a team that's like at the line. It's like mediocre, but then they were pulled out this one. So we'll see how that turns out for them. And obviously now the Raiders are going to have some picking up to do, and they're going to have some real adjustments within the team now that he stepped down. So we'll have to see how that pans out for them the rest of the season.
Right. And with that said, that is the AFC. We've just covered the entire AFC from Week 5. And Josh Allen will be right back with us for the NFC coming up in approximately 2 minutes, so stay tuned.
We've been down there. You gotta do the same. All you do is sign. So don't get nervous. Sign your name. Service. It takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. Service. Hey guys. guys, if you're about to turn 18, you've got to register with Selective Service. It's simple. Just go down to the post office, fill out a card, and turn it in. That's all there is to it. There's no draft now. You're just adding your name to Selective Service's list in case there's a national emergency.
So if you're 18 now, Selective Service, you gotta get down to the post office.
Register with Selective Service. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
Takes no time, just sign on the line at the post office. Selective Service. We've been down there to the post office. You gotta do the same. Post office. All you do is sign, so don't get nervous. Sign your name for Selective Service. It takes no time, just sign on the line at the post office for Selective Service.
Hey guys, if you're about to turn 18, you've got to register with Selective Service. It's simple. Just go down to the post office, fill out a card, and turn it in. That's all there is to it. There's no draft now. You're just adding your name to Selective Service's list in case there's a national emergency.
So if you're 18 now, Selective Service, you gotta get down to the post office.
Register with Selective Service. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
Takes no time, just sign on the line at the post office for Selective Service.
Welcome back to Sports Hour. We are covering the NFC side of things now. Josh Allen, Sarah Gordon's back with me right now. So, just like the AFC, we had some crazy games in the NFC as well.
Yes, we did.
And the one that's number one on our list right here is the missed field goal fiasco between the Packers and the Bengals. Packers took this one 25-22 in overtime. And if you guys were watching it on Fox, we missed the ending of it because Fox cut out the game-winning field goal to turn on the Giants and the Cowboys. So imagine being a Packers or a Bengals fan right then and there and actually missing the one made field goal in overtime.
Right, exactly. That's a poor choice for Fox. I mean, why would you go and turn? Like, I understand you have to. Obviously, we're TV people. We understand you have to tune in. But you know, if you're going to be really upset if you miss, they missed three. The Packers missed 3 field goals, and then finally got the last one, and then the Cincinnati missed what they would have missed 3 as well, I believe too. So they just. This was a crazy game. I remember watching this and just kind of laughing every time they kept missing. Because when is the last time you miss 3 field goals in a row?
Right, and they were
game
all
winners.
like 40 yards, something like that. Something that an NFL kicker should be able to make in overtime. But there was one kick, I believe it was right before overtime, and if he made it, the game would have been over, no time left. The Bengals kicker kicked it, and it had plenty of distance. He would have made it from 65 yards. It hit the flag that hung on the side of the goalpost, and the kicker thought it went in. So he's over there celebrating. He's jumping up and down celebrating like he made it. And the ref's like, dude, you missed
outside.
it. What are you celebrating about? And then the kicker just had to walk on the sideline after celebrating, like, why did I just do that?
The walk of shame.
He kicked it to the top of the goalpost. So if he just put it in the middle, that would have been good from like 65 yards easily. And if it was pushed back a little bit, he made it right down the middle. Who knows? It honestly could have been a record-setting field goal, honestly, but just a total fiasco of Mason Crosby missing. I don't remember the Bengals kicker's name, but he kept missing. And finally, they make a 48-yard field goal in overtime. I thought they would have missed that for sure. And we all missed it. But congratulations to Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers for beating the Bengals, who before that game lost 3 out of their last 4 against the Bengals last time they played against each other. So that was a big win for the Packers, especially going back to that week 1 where they lost like 38-3, I believe the score was, or 38-7, and nobody really knew if the Packers were going to be back this year.
Yeah.
They've really put that game in the rearview mirror, and they're just charging forward. They're trying to get any wins that they can, even though It may take a few missed field goals, but they still got the win.
Yeah, it may be a little unorthodox, but a win's a win. You keep moving forward, and I just remember seeing the shots of Aaron Rodgers just kind of laughing on the sideline, and it's just not that it became a joke after a while, but like it also became a joke after a while. Just like I have so many missed field goals. It was a very interesting game. So you never know what to expect with the NFL.
I was shocked that Mason Crosby's still on the team. He made it, but at the same time, he missed 3.
Exactly.
And then the Bengals kicker's still on the roster, too. I was like, what's going on? He's obviously not reliable. You ought to think about getting another kicker, but, I mean, if I'm a Bengals fan and I'm at that stadium watching that game, win or lose, I definitely had a good time watching that.
That's true.
It was definitely a back-and-forth kind of game. Packers were winning for most of the game. Then the Bengals come back with a late rally and tie the game, and then they have a chance to win it in regulation, miss the field goal, and that was just the first of many missed field goals in that game. But wow. We have on this sheet right here, it says field goal fiasco. What?
Yep, I wrote that right in the script because how else are you going to describe it?
I remember watching that game, and my reaction, I didn't say what, I was just laughing the whole time. I was like, this game's going to end in a tie. Both teams are going to miss 5 field goals each. The kickers are going to be cut next week, and this is just going to be a bad sight because if I'm an NFL fan, I'd rather lose than tie.
Yeah,
Ties
absolutely.
don't do anything. At least losing decides something in the standings. Ties don't do anything.
That's true.
But
we move on. They finally were able to make one, and the Packers pulled out the win
you
in
win
that situation.
as many games as you can.
Yes.
That's your job in the NFL. You win as many games as you can. Doesn't matter how ugly it is. Just win the game on your schedule, and that's what Green Bay did. So,
Yes.
So that was a crazy game.
It was.
The Saints taking on the Washington football team. They won this game 33-22. After Washington jumped out to an early lead, I was kind of shocked at Jameis Winston's performance in this one.
Yeah, definitely. And the numbers don't. He threw for 4 touchdowns, but he had the 1 interception in there. And the numbers don't depict it, but yeah, he definitely. I don't know. This was a close one. It kind of kept people on the edge of their seats, and like you said, the Washington football team pulled ahead early on. So you're a Saints fan. You're like, all right, we got to step it up. Get Winston, get back in there and throw for all those yards and stuff. So it was a questionable one, but the Saints ended up pulling through in the end, 33-22.
I honestly think Taylor Heineke is a good quarterback. I just think his defense just lets him down at the wrong time, and his offensive line has given him struggles too. He has to scramble out of the pocket on 9 out of his last 10 throws of this game was scrambling out of the pocket.
Yeah.
And he's got a great running game with Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick, but at the same time, your running game's not going to be great if your offensive line is terrible.
Yeah, that's true.
Just watch any team in the past. If your offensive line is bad, your running game is going to be bad, and the quarterback can't scramble out of everything. Look at Dallas in 2014 when they had that great offensive line. And was it DeMarco Murray? I think it was DeMarco Murray running the ball. He would get 5.5 yards a carry because that offensive line would create separation. But with the Washington, they're just having defensive struggles. They're injured on defense, like a lot of teams are right now. But their offensive line is the biggest struggle. Taylor Heineke can throw it down the field. He's a pretty good quarterback. He's a better option than Ryan Fitzpatrick, but that running game, that offensive line, it needs to get fixed. And if they don't make the playoffs this year, I know what they should address in the upcoming draft.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something we see with a lot of teams, that they put so much pressure on the quarterbacks, but you also got to think about, and I guess as fans too, it's the quarterback's the leading guy, but you also got to remember everyone else too, because they can't do it alone. They got to have the people there to support them besides the quarterback, and you got to build up the whole team and not just that position, or else you're not gonna get anywhere, no matter how good you are.
Right, it's a team game. The quarterback can't drop back on a 3-step drop, throw it, run 50 yards and catch it.
Yeah, right.
It's not like a game of backyard football or anything like that where you can do those trick plays. He's arguably the most important player on the field, but he is just one person out of 53 on that roster. You got to have the defense that can get pressure to the quarterback, that can make interceptions, that can shut down these wide receivers. You got to have the 5 offensive linemen that can protect your quarterback. the running game that can assist your quarterback so he's not throwing it 50 times a game, and the wide receivers that can catch the ball. Obviously a kicker that can make field goals. Colts in Green Bay and Cincinnati. And you also got to have the punter that can pin them down inside the 20. It's a complete team sport. So I think the first instinct with any casual NFL fan is blaming the quarterback. That's not always the right way to look. You have to watch the game. If you're just looking at the box score and the quarterback had 10 incomplete passes out of 20 attempts, but the receivers dropped 5 passes, it looks bad on the quarterback on paper, but in reality, he was doing all he could. His team around him just wasn't stepping out for him. So I think that's the story of the Washington football team this year. They are potentially a good team. They're definitely not on the same level as Dallas is right now in that division. But I think they're better than Philly, and I think they're way better than the Giants. So they're not too far off.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's definitely a team an underdog team I'm pulling for in the NFC this year. I just want to see Taylor Heineke succeed. And I remember they went to the playoffs last year at 7-9 and had a home field advantage. That was pretty interesting to see, but that's definitely a team that I want to see go all out this season and really go out there, make the right moves. Just it's not too late to bounce back. They're 2-3, and they have what is it? 17 games this year. They have 12 games left. They can make a move. So
absolutely.
But the Saints are also a really good team, with or without Drew Brees. So. Saints over the Washington football team 33-22. They won by 11. The Rams over the Seahawks on Thursday Night Football 26-17. Russell Wilson goes down. This is the story of the game.
Yes.
6 to 8 weeks with a dislocated finger. Had to get surgery on it. And familiar face, Geno Smith, is going to be taking over for the next 2 months, approximately. Month and a half, 2 months. So not only did the Seahawks lose this game in a divisional game, but they also lost their number 1 guy in Russell Wilson. This can't be good if you're a Seahawks fan.
Yeah, this definitely was not. This was a bad day for Seattle fans. I mean, that's one thing. Like, Russell Wilson has been their main guy for a long time now, and you just don't. It's something you don't want to see with any quarterback. But he's their main leader. It's someone you always look up to for Seattle, and that's a long time. 6 to 8 weeks. That's always. Perspective. You don't know that for sure. Something else could also happen. So that's perspective, and that's a good chunk of games right there. So you're going to be a little concerned if they're 2-3, and like you said, divisional loss,
yep.
And that's another terrible thing to happen.
Yeah, it could affect the tiebreaker. It can affect your position in your division standings. And at the same time, I knew exactly who it was. It was Aaron Donald coming at Russell Wilson at full speed. Offensive line has a tough time stopping Aaron Donald, of course, because he's Aaron Donald, one of the best defensive ends in the league. And Russell Wilson lets go of the ball, and his finger gets jammed on the inside part of his helmet. And you can see him kind of shaking his hand a little bit, trying to throw a couple passes on the sideline, then was taken into the locker room. And Seahawks fans were left wondering, what is our quarterback going to be going through? Does it require surgery? Is he going to miss some time? Obviously, does require surgery. I believe he got that on Friday morning, and he's going to be out a month and a half to 8 weeks. I don't think he's going to be out for too long. I think Russell Wilson's going to rehab this as fast as he could.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't and Geno Smith's playing the game, you got to wonder how many games is Geno Smith going to lead you down the field and win, because you have the Cardinals, who are looking great in that division right now, the Rams, who are looking great right now in that division, 49ers struggling a little bit. They're 2-3, but if the Seahawks are starting, let's just say Geno Smith goes in there for 6 weeks at the minimum, the Seahawks might win 2 or 3. And the 49ers can easily catch up on them if that's all they're going to win in the next 6 weeks.
Yeah, so that's definitely something that we'll have to keep an eye on. Hopefully, especially for Seahawks fans, I hope Russell has a quick recovery and is able to get back in there. So we'll see what happens with that.
It's definitely going to be weird for the Seahawks this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I had them as possible NFC Championship finalists,
Absolutely.
But who knows? The Vikings over the Lions, 19-17. The Vikings and their low-scoring games. I don't know what's going on over the past couple weeks, but the Lions, they lose another close one. Heartbreaking for the Lions. This happens every single week, and I feel bad for Detroit Lions fans. They are equivalent to the Buffalo Sabres of the NFL.
That's completely true, and they're like you said, they're 0 for 5 in the season, and I don't know. You're just looking at them, and you're like, oh, man, I give them a win here, there, somewhere. But yeah, it's like an unfortunate. Like Jared Goff only had 203 yards, and as a quarterback, you gotta have more than that if you're gonna win a football game. But
right. And real quick before we wrap up, we have 3 more games to go. Eagles over the Panthers 21-18 in a comeback victory. Jalen Hurts on his 3rd career game-winning drive, beating up on the Panthers, and Sam Darnold gets his 2nd loss of the season. The Cowboys over the Giants, who Saquon Barkley got carted off, as well as Daniel Jones, their quarterback. So that's not good for the Giants, and the Cowboys are continuing to run. And the Cardinals remain undefeated with a 17-10 win over the 49ers. And Trey Lance, I guess, has a sprained knee. So
yeah, there's a lot of very not good injuries this week. Not looking good for some teams. So we hope that they have speedy recoveries. But yeah, we just hope that they can get back in the game as soon as possible.
Death, taxes, missed field goals, and injured quarterbacks. That's your NFL Week 5 wrap-up right there. So in approximately 3 minutes, Topher will come on to talk about playoff baseball, so don't go away.
To be the best at anything, you've got to be physically fit. Train hard. You've got to be sharp mentally and keep yourself in top shape. You've got to learn all there is to know about your sport and be a team player. And most of all, you must have the burning desire to be the best. Incidentally, that's exactly what it takes to be a Marine. Sports and the Marine Corps are natural partners because the demands are the same. Teamwork, pride, discipline, and physical fitness. If you're interested in developing to your full athletic potential, the Marine Corps Sports Program offers an opportunity to go as far as your athletic talent and desire will take you, even as far as the Olympic Games. If you seek the challenge of going out for the world's finest team, maybe you can be one of us, the few, the proud, the Marines.
You know, every mother wants their new baby to be healthy. I know that's how I felt about mine. But the mothers of these babies were not so lucky. These babies were born with the AIDS virus. Right now, there's no cure, but you can help prevent the spread of AIDS. If you're sexually active, please use a condom because it'll help prevent AIDS. Do it for yourself. Do it for your partner. Do it for the babies.
It would be nice if latex condoms were automatic. But since they're not, using them should be. Simply because a latex condom used consistently and correctly will prevent the spread of HIV.
Some people say the press goes too far sometimes.
Sorry, I don't think it's appropriate to comment at this time.
But how far is too far? Had they stopped here, you may never have known about Watergate.
No comment. Please, no comment.
Or here, you may never have been fully informed about the environmental crisis.
Perfectly appropriate behavior.
Within policy. Would you say that secret activities are within policy?
Look, no comment.
Did you get authorization? No, it was illegal.
I said I cannot comment at this time.
Or had they stopped here, you may never have known if it concerned an issue that concerned you.
I'd like you to check the record.
Who monitored this activity, sir?
Who approved the funding? The committee approved all.
Now you say the committee was involved, sir?
No.
To protect your right to be informed,
I have nothing more to say.
how far should the press go? To learn more about the free press, contact the First Amendment Center.
Welcome welcome back to Sports Hour. Topher is here to join me, not Josh Allen, to discuss the MLB postseason so far. We are already mapping out the championship series for the American League is already filled out. But breaking news is that the Atlanta Braves just beat the Milwaukee Brewers to advance to the National League Championship Series. Insane. I cannot believe it.
No, it's actually crazy because I don't think a lot of people would have really expected it. Like, I just didn't think they were. I thought they were just dead in the water. Like, I really thought they were just going to come into the postseason like flat and just end up losing it. I really did. I thought the Brewers were going to pull something together.
I mean, getting hot at the right moment. This is what the Nationals did a couple years ago. But this is an Atlanta Braves team without their number one guy in Ronald Acuna Jr. So this is shocking to say the least, especially to go into Milwaukee, always a contender for the last, 5 years or so, to go in there and beat Christian Yelich. I mean, that's got to be heartbreaking for them, but at least they have the Milwaukee Bucks to look forward to in this upcoming basketball season. But Atlanta, don't count them out. All you have to do is make the playoffs and good things happen.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's definitely the way to look at it. And obviously, if the Brewers, they have like tools. Like, they know what they have to do to win next year. But obviously, something just went wrong with them. They just fell flat. But once the playoffs rolled around, and you really just didn't expect it. I thought they were going to be a lot more explosive, but they really just didn't do it.
I thought so too. I had Milwaukee winning in 3, honestly. I thought they were going to sweep them, but crazy things have happened in the playoffs over the years, and Atlanta's moving on to face against the winner of the Giants and Dodgers series. That would be awesome to see, but I think whoever wins that beats Atlanta. I don't know if I'm going to jump the gun on that too early right now, but those teams are just so good right now. I think they're both over 100 wins, while Atlanta's around the mid-80s. But I don't know. I don't want to jump the gun too early. I don't want to jump it.
Well, I can't blame you for not wanting to jump the gun after thinking the Braves were going to get swept. But I do agree with you that whoever wins that 100-win series is going to end up getting into the World Series.
Yeah. Just
because they are just slugging it out right now. Like, they're both pitching so well, and they're just killing each of the batters. Like, the last game between the two of them was a 1-0 in San Francisco's favor.
Yeah.
So it's just all of their pitchers right now are just on fire for both teams, even if San Francisco did get that last win.
Yeah, if you're into pitching duels, I mean, this series is great for you. If you're watching the Giants and the Dodgers, you see a lot of great pitchers. Gausman with the Giants is definitely their ace. Max Scherzer, the new acquisition from July, has to be the Dodgers' ace, you'd think, since Kershaw is still injured. So I think whoever wins that series is going to give Atlanta a run for their money. But I'm not putting my money down on anybody just yet, just saying there. But definitely going to be a great series to anticipate the National League Championship Series. And then the games from last week, I apologize for bringing this up, Topher. I really do. Tuesday, October 5th, the Yankees traveled to Fenway Park to face against the Red Sox. Garrett Cole versus, I don't remember who the other pitcher was in that game for the Red Sox.
Was it Chris Sale? I don't even know if it was.
Sale.
I don't even know if it was Sale. I just know Garrett Cole cannot win a game when it matters. He cannot. This is back-to-back playoffs. I'm gonna go off right now. Garrett Cole cannot win a game. Yeah, this is my Colts moment.
Get him.
Garrett Cole cannot win a game when it matters. This is back-to-back years. Last year was the Braves. This year it's the Red Sox. So it's AL East teams both years, and I am just in pain right now. It's not okay. Stanton and Judge can only do so much for this team to be clutch. Garrett Cole and Boone need to just be questioned right now. I love Garrett Cole. During the regular season, I was the biggest Garrett Cole supporter of winning the Cy Young, and then I just watched him in the playoffs, and it just went all out the window, and it just left a sour taste in my mouth.
Yeah, I don't know what Aaron Boone was thinking, or if the third base coach was thinking sending Aaron Judge around third. I think it was, 3-1 at that time, or 2-1?
It was close. The game was still close, but it just killed the momentum at that point.
Stanton hits a ball off the monster, and Judge is running around third. I don't know if the third base coach was telling him to stop or if he just ran through the stop sign, but it wasn't even close, the tag at the plate. But I think it's just those little things that add up in that game where it's like wild card, you win, you advance, you lose, you're eliminated. And just the little things were adding up for the Yankees that led to the Red Sox winning. It was a pretty even game within the first 4 innings or so. It was 3-0 right out of the gate for the Red Sox.
Yeah.
But then the Yankees started to crawl back, and then it was just the little things that added up, like running around third when you really shouldn't have. And I mean, they were hitting solid doubles the whole night.
I think literally any other stadium, there's a few more home runs. So many balls went off the Green Monster.
Yeah.
Like that was a home field advantage for them. I think Stanton would have had a second one, and I think there was. It wasn't Voit. It was Gallo. Gallo had one off the Monster too, and it's just that was the home field advantage for them too. So it would have been closer. Obviously, momentum shifts. You can just theory ball it the entire time, but like there was definitely a home field advantage for the Sox too, which hurts to watch.
I saw a stat on MLB.com. It was Stanton's hit off the middle of the Monster when Judge got tagged out at home. That is a home run in 28 ballparks.
Yeah, it hurts.
It was an estimated distance of 400. It
too.
was like 417 feet estimated distance. That would have been a home run, just by going off of the exit velocity of the ball. They estimated 417.
He killed the ball. It was
feet.
disgusting.
Amazing hit, but you got to hit it over that super tall monster over there at Fenway.
It's obnoxious, but it's so cool when they get home runs at Fenway too, because when you hit it over the monster, you know you absolutely just moonshotted it. But as a Yankees fan, it hurts because like you just see years of so many hits just not going over it, and you eventually just become numb to it.
Right, and you want to be like, if you're batting in Fenway and you're a Yankees player, you're a righty, you want to take it opposite field and hit ground rule in the shallow right, because that's an easy ground rule double. I feel like it's a very hitter-friendly ballpark, not a home run-friendly ballpark, but I mean, you can easily get a bunch of doubles. The Yankees were hitting singles and doubles all night.
No, yeah, it's a baseball, it's a base hit like friendly ballpark. I completely agree with you there. It's just you cannot hit home runs there if you're a righty. Like if you're in front of the ball at all, it's just not going to work.
Right. I think 28 out of 32 ballparks.
So stupid.
I'm thinking, obviously Boston, it wouldn't fit there. Maybe center field in Arlington in Texas, maybe? That's pretty deep in center.
That is a deep one.
Detroit, maybe, I'm thinking. I'm just guessing here, but
probably.
Stanton was getting robbed by that thing. That whole team was getting robbed by that thing all night. Final score was 6-2, and then the Red Sox advanced to the Divisional Series to take on the Rays, which we'll get into in a little bit. But the very next night, the Cardinals were traveling to LA to take on the Dodgers, and in a pitching duel, the Dodgers took this one 3-1 off of a walk-off from Chris Taylor.
That game was sweet to watch. I stayed up, so I started watching it up until, because it was obviously like a late game because it was West Coast. So I started watching it. I think I got to like the 5th inning, and those two were just, I watched up until Scherzer got pulled early in the 5th. And then he got whoever they put in for him. I think, it was Joe Kelly. I remember this perfectly. Yep, they put Joe Kelly in, and he ended up getting out of the inning, and I left for something. It was late. And
with a runner on first and second with one out.
Kelly
he got out of a jam.
Yeah, no, Kelly was great there. I don't even remember if he came back out, but no, Kelly was super good there. And after that inning, I stopped watching, and I went to bed. But I wasn't falling asleep, and I was like, oh my God, this game's still going on. And I ended up just watching it until like extra innings on my phone, and I was like, I had to be quiet because everyone else in the house was asleep, and I was this is sweet. I didn't even care who won, but I was like, I'm kind of like a mini Dodgers fan, which looks bad being a Yankees and a Dodgers fan, but like I have reasons for liking the Dodgers, but yeah. So it was like cool. I like the Dodgers as a team. I've liked the Dodgers for a while. But so obviously, I think that's who I'm now leaning towards being a fan of for the rest of the postseason. So it was a cool win to watch.
Yeah, they're definitely on the way to pursue another World Series appearance at least. There are a lot of teams in the NL that are still fighting for that spot, and the American League has some pretty darn good teams too. But that was definitely a fun game to watch. Chris Taylor lifting their spirits, advancing to the Divisional Series. I expected them to walk it off as soon as I saw Taylor come up to the plate with a man on. I was
this might be it.
I don't feel good about this if I'm a St. Louis fan. Yeah. But so they advanced, and they are still in the Divisional Series against the Giants. I believe they're actually playing right now in Game 4 as we speak. But going into Thursday afternoon, the Astros hosted the Chicago White Sox for Game 1 of the American League Divisional Series on FS1, who, by the way, had a terrible broadcast. Yeah, we saw some Geico commercials or whatever. that was interfering with a double play that I missed.
I don't like FS1 as a broad. I like TBS more for the playoffs right now, and obviously I like the MLB Network too. But no, I don't like Fox Sports 1 for any of just any sport really.
Right.
I'm not a fan of it.
Give me MLB Network. Give me Fox, not FS1.
Yeah,
give me
true.
Fox Sports
too. Yeah.
And give me TBS. FS1 was cut into that same Geico commercial.
Yeah.
The whole game. It was so annoying to watch.
It was just awful for timing. It was so bad.
And Lance McCullers showed out in that game. He got the win. Houston 6 and Chicago 1. That was game 1. What were your takes of this game? I thought it was kind of expected for Houston to take game 1.
Yeah, I think taking game 1 was obviously pretty, you had to think they were going to do it just because they were the favorite coming in. It was home. You just really think, Houston's going to ball out. They're going to do what they're doing. They know what they've been here before in the playoffs. They really, expect it to happen. Chicago was kind of Chicago's been in the playoffs in a somewhat recent fashion, but not as recently as Houston being in it. So I really expected them to get game 1.
Yeah, definitely at Minute Maid Park too, in a sellout crowd.
Yeah,
the orange rally towels. I mean, Chicago just looked lost in that game, and it was Lance Lynn, a guy who the Astros used to play all the time when he was playing for Texas Rangers, and he would not have good nights in Minute Maid Park.
Yeah.
Similar, I guess you can kind of blame the whole scandal that was going on in 17 that originally started against Lance Lynn, but even after the fact, they just know how to pitch around that guy.
Yeah,
they know how to hit on him. They know how to hit homers off of him.
For sure. Yeah, he just does not enjoy pitching in that ballpark.
No.
He sees ghosts. It's bad.
It's really bad if you're Lance Lynn, and you got to think, is this your last season? Or if you're going to be re-signed by the White Sox after this year, because are you reliable in the playoffs? Maybe not against Houston, but against other teams, possibly.
Yeah, it's just you got to see him you got to hope you see him in a situation where he's not pitching against Houston.
Right, and this game too, in a back and forth one that was actually announced by Bob Costas on MLB Network. This was a fun game to watch. It was very back and forth. 1-0 Chicago, then 2-1 Houston, then 4-2 Chicago, then 4-4 Houston, and then 9-4 Houston. They ended up winning this game. Just what can you really say rather than back and forth? Pretty much through the first 5 innings of that game.
Yeah, you go from a pretty good pitching outing to Houston to a really just bad pitching on both sides. 4 runs isn't you don't think of that as bad pitching, but realistically between it being 9-4, 9-4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just not good on either side, I feel like.
And then so Houston is pretty much in the driver's seat at this point. Then Sunday night rolls around. Houston has a 5-1 lead, and guess what? They lose 12-6.
Yeah,
in Game 3.
Momentum shift, absolute momentum shift, and you got to see what Chicago does with a momentum shift like that. Coming back from what you think will probably be your sweep game, and you don't want to exit like that, to being up, just coming back and really blowing the doors out of it eventually by the end score.
Double the score. You would think in the top of the 3rd inning, Astros are up 5-1. There's no way that Chicago will score 4 or 5 to even come back and win this game. They end up scoring an even dozen to Houston's half dozen. That was just a crazy game to watch.
It was a cool game to watch. It was exciting because I obviously in this series specifically, I don't have a favorite. Realistically, I'm gonna root for whoever wins this series just because. Actually, I don't know. I don't know because I don't like the Red Sox. I hate the Red Sox more than I hate the Astros as a Yankees fan. I think I have to root for whoever wins this series just to beat the Red Sox because I cannot watch Boston win another championship anytime soon.
And then Game 4 was in Chicago today. Southern Chicago, Astros traveling back after a rain delay yesterday. They should have played yesterday, but inclement weather, a.k.a. everybody should have a roof by now, but that's another topic.
Yep.
The reason why I got the Houston swag on is because they won, then they clinched the series. They beat the White Sox today 10-1 after trailing 1-0 at the bottom of the 2nd. They scored 10 unanswered and put those guys away. I don't know, I think it was Ryan Tepera, the Chicago White Sox relief pitcher, talking about possible cheating going on at Minute Maid Park during this series. I would just not run your mouth because Altuve and Correa, Correa saw that and was like, that's hilarious, and he's like, you don't know the facts. So I wouldn't run your mouth unless you beat the Astros and you put them away in the series because
it's a bad look. Even even if some like wild reason there's like the odds of it happening again are astronomically low, but even in some like small chance it happens, it's just a bad look for you on being on the losing end of it.
Right, and even though Astros are getting plenty of hate, and some of it is for good reason because of what happened in 2017, coming from an Astros fan myself, I expected it all throughout this year when they were allowing in fans. But at the same time, you got to think of the Astros like, okay, they're spreading some more fake news about us and a bunch of more rumors about us cheating in 2020 and possibly cheating in 2021. Yeah. This is getting a little out of control. We'll act as the villains and we'll put these guys away. I think they've kind of adopted that villain mentality.
They are 100% embracing the villainness, and I respect it for that sake of how much they're embracing it. And I think like the players themselves, maybe not the organization, but guys like Altuve and Correa, they're having fun with it at this point. Like you can tell. It's funny how much they just love. I think they enjoy being the villains now. Like you think Altuve, who used to be the baby face of the like it was Altuve and Trout who were like the baby
the most
face.
likable players.
Yeah,
before
like
the whole scandal
it was
came
literally
out.
Judge Altuve, like at least from the AL standpoint, it was Judge Altuve and Trout, and they were the faces of baseball basically, all in the AL. And now it's like Altuve's literally just flipped a switch. He's like, yeah, I'm just gonna embrace this and run with it.
It's like a heel turn in WWE.
Absolutely,
a chair shot. Altuve comes in and hits Judge with a chair shot.
How do we get WWE references in this?
And
I hate it.
Everybody's booing them. Yeah, that's just,
it really
that's just
is. No, it
how
literally
I look at
was it is a heel turn. Like funny enough, in real life it was, but no, they're embracing it.
Crazy series. I don't think they're going to go down without a fight this year.
No, not at all.
But it is going to be a tough stretch down the line as they're going up against the Red Sox, who seem to be gaining momentum, and these NL teams that are left. Even if they go to the World Series, it's definitely going to be tough. And the Red Sox, I mean, this is insane. The Rays take the first game, and then the Red Sox said, that's hilarious, we'll take the next 3.
Yeah, I honestly was rooting for the Rays. Like, I don't like the Rays, but I like the Rays more than I like the Red Sox.
Of course, yeah.
It's ridiculous. I watched the first game, I'm like, okay, they have it under control, it's cool. And it just went downhill so fast. It was a landslide. It was so bad. I'm like, what is happening? It's because I started watching all the games again. I'm telling you. Like, I kept up for, like, every Sports Hour episode. I was following things. I start watching all the playoff games, and all the teams I like start losing. That's just what happens. It really is. It's my fault, guys. I'm sorry if you're a Rays fan.
It's rough though because the Rays pitching in Game 1 was outstanding.
It was so good.
It was
I
so
thought
good.
they had everything under control, and then it just disappeared.
Like what happened in Games 2, 3, and 4? What could have happened that was so astronomically bad? What could have happened? Are the Red Sox really that good? Because I thought they were falling off a cliff in late July, early August, and here they are.
I thought it was going to be the Blue Jays, and now it's the Red Sox in the championship series.
I thought, going into like the whole push for the playoffs in early August, my early season prediction was Yankees versus Mariners. And I did not have the Red Sox even coming close to a wild card spot since of the terrible performance they had in July. But this is the beauty of the playoffs, man.
It's crazy.
All you have to do is squeak yourself in, and you can all you have to do is get hot at the right time. Mm-hmm. It's like the hockey playoffs with the St. Louis Blues a couple years ago. Everyone was counting them out, and they go ahead and they beat the Boston Bruins and win the Stanley Cup. Like, all you have to do is make it, and crazy things will happen.
All right, let's do some predictions. So who do you think ends up winning in, first of all, for divisionals, leftover divisionals, who do you think wins? Who do you think gets into it?
I'm going to say the Giants get past the Dodgers. Maybe they, what is it, Game 4 right now? It's in LA, I think.
Yeah, it's playing right now.
I think the Giants will win in 5. That's what I think.
You think it goes the whole way?
Yeah.
I think it's Dodgers in 5. We both think it's going to 5. I think it's just Dodgers in 5 because I just think if they can pull it, I just think the Dodgers have a better overall relief system.
Either way, it's going to be a good series for sure.
It'll end up being great, yeah.
How about the Astros and Red Sox? Astros will get home field for the first 2 games, and then 6 and 7 if necessary.
I think I'll go Astros in 6.
I'll say Astros in 7.
Oh, you think? I don't know.
I think the Red Sox will take it to 7.
I think they're losing out of. I think it's Astros in 6. So we're gonna go Astros Dodgers again.
And then.
Oh, you have Giants actually. Shoot.
Yeah.
So it's Astros in the World Series again, and then who do you think?
Maybe Atlanta, but I'm thinking San Francisco.
I think it's the West Coast. I just think it's whoever the West Coast team is.
It's gonna be crazy going down the line, and in the next week we're gonna find out a lot of answers to who's going to be in the championship series, who's possibly going to be in the World Series. So, Topher, thanks for coming on. We'll see you next week, same time, same place, Hendricks Hall. Thank you for watching Sports Hour.